We lost $100,000 last year because we were asleep at the wheel. These are the several lessons of what was going on, what we're gonna do about it. By the way, my name is Hugh, and if you're new to the channel, I teach business owners how to optimize their business and not lose a whole bunch of money. Background was manufacturing. Now I help businesses all over the place. I applied lean methodologies to my own businesses, retired a millionaire in 2 years or less, and now I just help my friends do the same. So let's get into how we lost $100 grand last year.
Everything's always about knowing your numbers. Trust but verify, right? Even if you work with someone for years.
Just started moving in the right direction. That would have been the moment that you and I had the conversation. We need to look at this, and there's a giant hole in the boat. So the biggest helpful thing that we had in place is another two Sacred Lean team who were running a similar site very effectively. So it was a plug and play situation. The whole message is you will run into problems as entrepreneurs and business owners. It will keep you up at night sometimes. It will exhaust you. Those are the small moments that people, I think, don't tend to share as much. They don't realize the value in understanding how you have to learn from your mistakes, learn from your failures.
We lost $100,000. What else?
And I think we also had to do some employee musical chairs. And we almost lost an entire site due to a lot of staffing issues, but we were able to jump in and recover that people.
So this has been, right now I'm upbeat, but when you get into the actual episode, I'm pretty solid. I start off very exhausted. We've lost 100 grand. We had a crazy site. We had another big thing that's like, $350,000 that we're still dealing with. You'll learn about all that. And we're just going to be transparent about our problems, because it's not all sunshine and roses. No one ever shares this stuff, so we want to share this stuff as we're going through it. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We'll tell you whatever that is. How did we lose 100 grand?
No visibility, and we didn't know our numbers on that specific side of the business.
Yeah.
Or those projects, more specifically. We put a heavy focus on where the most value was, took all of our focus away from looking at, I think, everything we were doing at the same time.
Yeah, so interest rates went up. We started doing other things in the company that wasn't the core focus, and there used to be an acceptable vacancy rate. That was based on the old interest rate. Well, when the old interest rate and the interest rate skyrocketed, we never adjusted that. And so we were doing well. Like, it's not going to sound like, hopefully this is not like a brag, but we lost $100,000 and didn't notice. I mean, we noticed, but but we didn't notice. Until 8 months later, we're like, something just seems wrong. What the hell's going on? And that's when we noticed. After 8 months, and we've lost 100 grand. Almost all that was due to high loan payments, and because we're in real estate, and simultaneously vacancy. So there was an invert where every month we were losing $2 grand a year.
Yeah, it wasn't noticeable in the beginning.
It's like, okay, we lost $2 grand. Pretty normal. 100% of our focus as a company was actually a different segment of our company. And we're like, okay, that's set, we forget it, let's keep going. Then there was some standard CapEx stuff, right? We had someone trying to burn down a house because they're dumb.
Standard.
Normal stuff like that. There was some abnormal stuff in there. But the bulk of it, we weren't watching our numbers and our income. We were spending more per month, we were bringing in, and that was eating into our reserves. And so our reserves were slowly dwindling. We didn't notice because we were doing other active income on the side. And as we were bringing in active income, that was replenishing the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I was in the UK, we were just looking around. We were just like, hey, this is weird. We're making way more money. Where's all of our money? That was step one. We did the audit.
But I think this is something that you can relate to a lot of businesses, because you get complex trying to be smart and trying to generate more revenue. And that's the standard mistake we made. We got complex. And because of complexities, it was hard to notice where every area we saw where we were doing really well, and then the areas that we weren't kind of just floated under the radar until you couldn't anymore.
Yeah, so know your numbers. I mean, Profit First really caught this for us. If we had not been doing Profit First, we would not have known this was a thing. It's because I kept having to replenish these accounts that normally should be covered by normal operations. So what have we done about the $100,000? It was probably the easiest problem of ours to solve.
What have we done about it?
Yeah.
Our sole focus as a company has been on vacancies, tying that into Trello and tracking, and making sure that all team efforts daily correlate with the battle plan that fills said vacancy.
There's visibility, and we have a great morning routine. We've tied that into Trello. That was 6 weeks ago. So when do you think we righted the ship on the $100,000 loss?
Righted it, just started moving in the right direction. That would have been the moment that you and I had the conversation. We need to look at this, and there's a giant hole in the boat. That's when I think we started moving in the right direction. It was first visibility, then it was action, and pointing us in the right direction to put our focus where action mattered instead of just getting lost on all the stuff that we thought was bigger and more important.
6 weeks ago, we noticed the problem.
Yeah.
We immediately started doing stuff about it.
Yeah.
That's been 6 weeks now, or probably 5 weeks, 4 weeks. I'm feeling pretty good about that direction, but just as of yesterday or beginning of the month, we lost 12 grand this month.
And those small losses add up to the big losses that we freaking somehow didn't see up until it was too big to ignore.
We righted the ship, we're on the right path, we're going the correct direction. But just our nature of our business, we don't make widgets, we can't just increase sales, we just gotta fill vacancies. So we've put marketing in place, all hands on deck around that, we're walking properties, we're getting very creative. So if we didn't have reserves, we would have been completely closed. I think we're like almost done with everything.
Yeah.
We've just been firefighting mode the whole time.
Right. Our plan together, and that's what we feel so tired, is scrambling to make sense of what had happened and then do something about it so we don't find ourselves in the future.
I think we made sense of what happened immediately.
Yeah.
And then we put a plan in place the next day. And then every day it's just been executing. At the end of morning meeting, at the beginning of the workday every day, we do our meetings. And we have 3 things, and every day we check all our vacancies. And then if there is vacancies, we have 48. I think we checked like 54.
Yeah.
We're down to 48. Some of them are filled, but they haven't moved in yet because they moved in the beginning of November. It's halfway through October right now. So we know that the bleeding is stopping.
Yeah.
So we still have reserves. Again, we didn't notice we lost 100 grand, which is a good and bad thing. And so we just put the focus on that. On the other side, what we were putting focus on, like 2x, like it was on average, that portfolio was bringing in like 60, 70, and now is bringing in like 100 or 120, which is great for that section. That's one of the reasons we're making way more money now there. It's what we put on autopilot, which is Hugh's personal things. That is what was upside down.
Just taking it, yeah.
So I don't know. I feel better. We also picked up a brand new skill set, which is Facebook ads, which sounds mundane. Oh yeah, Facebook ads, whatever. It's crazy.
Oh, I would say you should do just an episode on it. There's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, there's pixels and crazy stuff. So got a brand new skill set out of it. Again, toilet paper entrepreneur. Totally feel good. We're in the right direction. Not worried about that. All right, what was the other thing that kind of happened in the middle while we were sorting that out?
The thing that no one ever wants to talk about. Colonial, honestly, was a surprise because a very long-term employee of ours, very trusted employee, suddenly was caught stealing. And not stealing money out of the cash drawer, moving people into rooms that he wasn't collecting money for. And so $100 here, $100 there from the cash drawer is a lot easier to deal with than thousands of dollars over time. That was an opportunity cost for us as business owners who now can't place a tenant in this room. It always just looked like, oh, those rooms had vacancy, back to vacancy again. But at the end result, that's $1,200 a room per month. And who knows how many rooms that they had been doing this with and over how many years. So
we can't.
You calculate the loss to at least be, I would say, safe number is 20 or more thousand that we've probably lost to this individual.
Definitely even more than that. I mean, we can't definitively say one way or the other they were shown it. We can say at least in one instance, a room shows up as vacant on our reports on the software, but it actually was not vacant. It was.
Well, people were healthy and well living in there.
So that was one thing. But that could have been, was it one room? Was it every vacancy? You don't know.
Yeah.
So just lack of system and controls on that specific property. It seems all doom and gloom. We're sharing with you all the bad things because real estate, it's all bikini beaches and stuff.
Well, they see all the upside of it.
This happened. In addition to that, it was not good controls on cash flow, cash management. Not just real cash, but also credit cards. If someone came in to pay, and they owe us rent on. This is a hotel, by the way. They owe us rent on Monday. They come in Tuesday to pay, and then no late fees are applied. Or they just, don't worry about it. we'll just make it starting on Tuesday. And so all of a sudden now it's, okay, well, you lost the revenue for day one. Yeah. But you take that times 30 rooms. So our top line, our bookings were showing that we were pulling in 30, 40 grand, which are 40 grand a month, 41 grand. But our accounts receivable, meaning that the service was rendered, but we were lacking money. On average, was $7,000 to $9,000 of money that we did not receive over many, many, many months. So the step one before we caught was let's do training, let's tighten up our systems and processes, let's train. I always give everybody the benefit of the doubt. In the middle of that, we ripped off the Band-Aid. That person was gone. We were able to, now this is where lean excelled.
But that person also had the control over, in his mind, he pretty much felt like he ran the place. So with that individual came a lot of fail safes we should have had in place, like codes to cameras and all of these things which he managed, which lots of other people had access to. So they effectively just started running the motel how they wanted to behind our back.
Yeah.
Without us being aware, because of all the small controls they had in place that enabled them to get away with stuff.
We saw the big picture, we didn't see the finer detail.
Yeah.
And we also already kind of knew something was off.
Yeah.
So we started looking at that, just looking way deeper. We basically completely ignored that place, and it was printing money still. So that place made the most money with
the least amount of
focus as it was. And so now that we are focusing on it, it should make significantly more, and we'll actually have money to do like really big repairs and stuff from cash flow, which is rare for real estate because it's a business.
Yeah.
But here's what 2 Second Lean shines. What was the solution and why was it so successful?
So the biggest helpful thing that we had in place is another 2 Second Lean team who were running a similar site very effectively. So it was a plug and play situation. Hey, we need to do what you're doing amazing there and do it here, and let your staff already move in and continue doing what they're doing really well at, and made it just a lot more seamless. As if we had to just simply wipe the board clean and start from scratch would have probably put us out of business for that location.
Well, mentally,
it really hurt. It would have hurt a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a great thing. So 2 Second Lean just destroyed all expectations. It really shines in emergency mode. We had a fantastic team on all of our other sites. We have a morning meeting, the morning routine, everything's in place. We were able to pluck a team member from a different property, bring them on site. Because they're trusted, they were able to find a lot more going on, so we ended up really letting go 2 more people.
Yeah.
And so there's almost 100% turnover at that site. Everybody but one person no longer working there. And but now you just plucked someone from a different site. What do we do?
Well, if you really have a really good structure like you described, then someone else always rises up in where that.
Everyone was cross-trained. There's Yogaton everywhere. There's systems and processes in charge. There was like nothing ever changed at the site that we plucked them from. They were able to backfill with a new part-time employee, and the cross-training just immediately took effect. There was no difference in operations, and that's the learning curve, right? Everybody knows how to do everything. There's systems, processes in place. That person that we brought into the other site, they turned around and we were able to do something similar. So they're in there on site, they're implementing systems and processes. The remaining employee on board, we're putting systems in place, checks and balances.
Yeah.
That just are identical. They're nothing new. They're new for that site, but everything was in place.
And I would say they probably saved us 6 months of trying to figure all this out new, because they were able to come in and, I think, look at what was there, get rid of people who shouldn't be there immediately, like identify more of the problem than we even realized, and then just start taking action on it.
We did that, clean house. Next steps moving forward, this is just their plan. It is a hotel, so we're gonna actually close down. There's some pest control problems. And we're gonna close it down for a week, bring in heavy fumigation. We're gonna completely, get rid of any pests, cockroaches, whatever there may have been, deep clean every room, and then reopen everything. And so that's super nice. And we're going to be able to reopen at a much higher price because we have a much cleaner, nicer product.
And we'll have an extra staff.
The fantastic thing is it was stressful, but it wasn't nearly as stressful because we spent every morning building and training and developing a team.
Yeah.
The team runs and manages the processes, and they were able to basically replicate the existing processes at the awesome site in the site that wasn't doing so well. And then when we plucked people over, we could actually use them directly. We had 2 property managers. Each one thought the other one was taking care of a specific medium-term unit, and neither of them were because they thought the other one was.
Yes.
So it just sat vacant. So we lost $4,500 in the last 3 months after someone moved out, but no one was doing any advertising and stuff back there. Got it filled very quickly once we were paying attention, but pay attention to your numbers.
That's business.
All right, so back to the situation there. I mean, that was just great. We were able to backfill almost immediately. They didn't even notice that the other person had left. Everyone was cross-trained, the systems were in place, and we were able to self-replicate that everywhere.
Yeah.
So, very, very good outcome, even though it's very stressful all at once.
I would say it would have been worse. Would have been much worse.
Yeah.
And we've now been able to put that kind of team and system in place over the last year, especially 2 years.
This is why, you see me rabid about the morning routine. We build people. We develop and grow people.
Yeah, I would say because of that system, we only spent really 2 days on site helping manage and coordinate a few things, mostly for safety.
Yeah.
But they were able to just plug in a morning meeting like usual, take command, run battle plans, and do all the things, whether it was there or somewhere else. It seemed to be...
Now they're working their butt off. We're going to have a heck of a pizza party and probably bonuses for the big assist.
Pizza party.
They're working their butt off, but it's all familiar, right? If you got Kanban cards in one location, they can be translated over. When you train staffing, we're going to be able to bring staff up and down to the different sites to do yoga time. And these are in different cities, which is really the crux of everything. If they weren't in different cities, if they were all in the same city, then, it would just be, we'd probably have everybody on rotation. So everybody knows everything everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was actually a very good thing. That's just been very stressful. That happened 4 weeks ago?
Maybe, yeah.
3 weeks ago?
3 weeks
So it
ago.
was in the middle of this $100,000 thing.
Yeah.
That's when we discovered
Massive, employee swap happened.
And then outside of all of that, we've got, where do we begin to talk about this next one?
I would say at a different time. That's a whole thing we should walk through. There's a lot of life lessons to be learned from that.
Yeah.
And we don't have a conclusion yet.
Yeah, so we're still in the middle of it. It'll be resolved before this is ever released, but we just don't know what to talk about. Main thing is know your numbers. Everything's always about knowing your numbers. Trust but verify, right? Even if you work with someone for years, trust but verify. We're all human. People make mistakes. The good news is all the things that we're catching are systems and processes caught them early on. Well, I say early on. The $100,000 thing was not early
Sooner
on.
than later. Yeah.
But Profit First was kind of nudging us like, hey, something's off, pay attention.
Right.
And we're like, oh, that is weird. Okay, well, here's a little bit more money. Hey, something's wrong, pay attention. Now, had something been an immediate emergency, that would have been caught instantly.
Mm-hmm.
This was a small, it's a little bit here, a little bit there. We didn't notice. Now we do. Easily be right to ship, especially before winter. It's the middle of October right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad we caught us early.
I am too.
Anything else people don't ever hear bad stuff from real estate people.
One thing I'd say is everyone is going to say this pretty picture of real estate or business. And there are some really amazing ups and some benefits to being in this business and even just having some sort of real estate portfolio that ties in with your overall business model. Absolutely. What we like to talk about from time to time is things that can really go wrong. How what you're doing really well, which we have been doing lots really well, that increased the portfolio by an exponential number, which is why these smaller things didn't seem as big as they were until they were problems that were too, I would say all of a sudden you couldn't ignore, right? Because staffing changes and then accounting would just throw up some red flags. From that, what I think would take most companies months, if not a year or more, if they even recovered at all from two of these, could sink, I think, a lot of people. We were able to correct them in as little as 4 to 6 weeks. So the whole message is you will run into problems as entrepreneurs and business owners. It will keep you up at night sometimes. It will exhaust you. Those are the small moments that people, I think, don't tend to share as much. They don't realize the value in understanding how you have to learn from your mistakes, learn from your failures, so that we can keep operating, doing the big stuff we love doing.
Yeah. And when's the only time we ever learn?
Usually when we're messing up or something fails.
When you're solving a problem. And when you solve a problem, that's why it's like, okay, you want to get into real estate, just go buy something. I mean, don't just go buy something. But if you're in stuck in analysis paralysis, you're going to learn more buying your first crack house and trying to flip it than reading any amount of books will.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of it. You are observing us exhausted, and we're going to have great lessons to learn, right? We talk about what was our biggest financial mistake on an earlier episode. And I think this, I don't know, I actually don't think this is going to eclipse that. It seems more annoying, but fiscally, we're going to be just fine. But we're actively learning. How do we have the audacity to say we're the business of blueprints, but have these massive issues, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I would say we win more than we lose. But where we lose or where we run into problems or experience failure, we're probably the quickest to adapt and learn from that and be incredibly strategic. I don't think a lot of people could have pivoted as quickly and as well as we were able to, just from our fundamental knowledge and experience in the past, dealing with similar things, and then not letting that sink the ship.
There was a quadruple win that we probably should dedicate a whole episode to.
Yeah,
quadruple win.
And that's where we, I think, shine is in a lot of our strategic thinking, our triple and quadruple wins, and some of our big moves that we've taken on as well.
So I think there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. The last, whatever, $335,000 thing, that one will be solved. We'll figure that one out as well. It's going to come out as a win probably for everybody involved. And a lot of it is just, we don't know the answers. Mm-hmm. We're doing the best we can. We don't claim to know. If I've ever alluded that we do, it's like, people are like, how do you get this? Or how did you scale so quick? I was too dumb to realize how hard it'd be. Right.
I think what you're saying, we don't know all the answers, but we really understand systems.
Yeah. And,
and outcomes.
The tone of this is the end of the workday. We're kind of exhausted after a long 6 weeks so far. The tone of this that you're hearing is probably lower than normal, but they're all positive things. We're on top of it. We made massive pivots because of our systems and processes. We had a lot of backup plans in place already, tools to pull from, great team members to execute tasks. They're handling problems. On top of that, like you said, the strategic thinking, being able to problem solve, it's because all we do is engage in critical thinking and problem solving every day. That's why it's so freaking important to do 3S and morning meeting, because small 3S things work your mind to practice critical thinking skills. And boy, do we give our noodles a little exercise by a few weeks.
Oh man, yeah. Some of our deepest and most critical strategic thinking has happened over the last 3 problems that we've run into.
Yeah, I'm going to say that each one of the problems individually is a big pain in the butt.
Yeah.
All 3 of them happening at once was like, oh my gosh, can you believe it?
Yeah. Something we had to deal with. But what I'd like to say is I wouldn't say that most people could be in a similar situation where $1 million worth of problems were on the line and it wouldn't sink their ship.
Yeah.
So what we're doing right and the systems that we do have in place, I think is where we've been able to excel and work past that, because otherwise, Dane 10 years ago couldn't have experienced $1 million loss or $1 million systems failure or personnel failure, all the things on one side, and still survive that to keep fighting another day.
Right.
That's really, I think we're very fortunate in that way.
Yeah, and businesses.
Probably the city. No, we're still waiting on the city.
We're still waiting on the city to call us. So, tons of stuff. I'm excited, but I wanted to film this because we're about to go home and it just feels like we're down, but we've done so much. Now we're down, we're exhausted.
But I like what you say, at the end of the day, it's like 3 p.m.
Oh yeah, that's right, isn't it?
We get with all of our friends.
It's 3:34.
Yeah.
And that's like 2 hours after we normally are out of here.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hilarious.
But it's fun.
We want to share and be completely transparent about our issues so you can learn from us. Don't do what we do. We're going to talk about it. Even if we go bankrupt, a phone and internet connection is free. I can go to, Starbucks or something.
Cafe.
We're gonna open. You're gonna know what happened as long as I don't get hit by a bus, and you learn from that. We're excited because I think we're gonna come out on top. Now, the other thing too is we lost our So if you want, make sure you check out our website. Send us questions. It is bwb@hughcarnahan.com. Ask us your questions. If you want to help us out, please listen to the next episode.
Yeah.
Anything
Or
else?
donate to our sinking ship fund.
Yeah, don't donate to us. We don't have anything to donate yet, but you buy us a beer or something.
Awesome.
Oh,
Living to fight another day. I gotta.
all right. See you. Thanks so much for sticking around to watch. Please help us by watching this next video.